Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Citizens of the World. You know, there is so much going on this week, it being 3 weeks in front of the election. Oh, the debates are happening. We have the debate coming here in Lynn University next Monday. I decided yesterday to take the evening off, and I went to see Atlas Shrugged 2, and that's prompted me to do a whole event on Ayn Rand. And I have to tell you, this is an amazing woman. We will be talking about Ayn Rand in depth today. We will also be taking a look at a speech that was given by Congressman Alan West in his recent visit to California, where, interestingly enough, he actually addresses Ayn Rand in his speech. And then finally, we're going to close with some of a commentary with regards to how a woman in 1957 wrote a book that is applicable, that is incredibly on target with something that is happening now some 60 years later. We're going to close with her interview with Mike Wallace, and I hope you enjoy the show. Be right back, folks. Thank you. We are, all of us, the residents of a swiftly shrinking globe, where what was once local is fast becoming global, and our decisions and opinions resonate well beyond our own borders. Join me each week, your host, Al Zucaro, from the epicenter of the Western Hemisphere, Boca Raton, Florida, in sunny South Palm Beach County, for a pointed look at politics, immigration, culture, and what it means to be a citizen of the world. Well, here we go, folks. I want to chat a little bit about Atlas Shrugged. Now, you'll remember in 2011, actually, the book was written in 1957. It was written by a woman who is a Russian immigrant to the United States who has absolutely led and lived the American dream. She wrote two books. Two major books in her life, and one of them was Atlas Shrugged. And throughout her career, she's been a playwright, she's been a philosopher, she's been a book writer, a screenwriter, a novelist. I mean, the woman is really very, very accomplished. 1957, she published this book. She used the phrase fair share. She used a lot of the doctrines that we are fighting about today. She is a woman that grew up in a centralized government and came to the United States to enjoy the individual freedoms that we have enjoyed for almost 350 more plus years in this country, and for which we are at serious risk for losing today. So we're going to dedicate this show and Thursday's show to Ayn Rand and bringing her to life here. We're going to take a little bit of time now, and we're going to talk about Atlas Shrugged 2, which is a movie that just opened last week or the week before and is drawing significant crowds. It is a follow-up, a sequel to Atlas Shrugged from last year, and it is an incredibly engaging, riveting movie that talks about the issues of the day and how government can take away all of the things that we really live for here in this country. In fact, I got an email just this morning that really was kind of interesting. It was sent to me by someone who I went to the movie with last night. And for those of you that see the movie, you'll hear the phrase Directive 10-289. In the movie, Directive 10-289 is where the government determines that it is in the common good to take everything and control everything from Washington. And they step in and they take private property. They make entrepreneurs sign over intellectual property rights by gifting it to the government. I mean, it's just incredibly devastating. One must remember, however, that in the last 3.5 years, this current president has signed so many executive orders, he now has the power within his control under executive orders to do exactly what the movie is predicted back in 1957. It is really deja vu, and it is very, very scary. At any rate, with that said, we're going to take a moment and we're going to encourage you to take a look at the following website. It's www.whitehouse.gov/the-press-office/2012/03/16. Wow, that's pretty long, isn't it? We'll put that up on the screen later on in the day. But the fact of the matter is what you're going to see is you're going to see an executive order that has been put in place now and is in effect. And it is an executive order that says National Defense Resources Preparedness. When you read through this executive order, and it's dated March 16th of 2012, you'll see that everything that is anticipated in Atlas Shrugged 1 and Atlas Shrugged 2 is in place now. One can only hope that November 6th gets here fast enough and that the election turns around this government and the direction it's going in. With that said, we'd like to take a moment to remind you that the show is brought to you by Fugazi International Travel. You can find them on the web at fugazitravel.com. And we're going to take a moment now and go into our next segment, which will be, when we come back, will be Fireworks and Politics, and we'll be listening to a speech delivered by Alan West in a recent trip he took to California. We'll be right back, folks. Thank you. Hello, folks. Back to one of my favorite segments, which is Fireworks and Politics. To remind you, Fireworks and Politics is brought to you by Palm Beach Regional Center. That's www.palmbeachregionalcenter.com on the web. Today we're going to take a moment and we're going to provide to you a video that was recorded of Congressman Alan West. Congressman West, as you know, is running in District 22 against a little-known twerp by the name of Patrick Murphy out of Broward County, who is saying the most god-awful things about an American hero like Alan West. You know, you can disagree with Alan West's policies, perhaps. You can even disagree with some of his style. But the fact of the matter is the man's an American hero. He fought and on the lines to protect my right to be able to sit here and call Patrick Murphy a twerp. This guy's got to get out of the way. He's offensive, and he can't even stand in the shadows of Alan West. But with that said, Alan West on October 15th, this past Saturday, was in Temecula, California, where he delivered a speech that is that resonates so on topic with the Ayn Rand theme of our show that I couldn't help but play it. It's actually a 17-minute talk. I've divided it into two sections. The first 8 minutes will be played today in a moment, and the next will be played in our Thursday event. So I hope you enjoy it. It is incredibly insightful, and I look forward to, I'll see you before the end of the show. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you too. Thank you so much. All right. Sit down. Because I ain't got my ice cream yet. And look, I want to thank Rose, and I want to thank everyone that put on this incredible event and inviting me back out here to the Temecula Valley. I hope I said that right. Temecula. I'm from Georgia. I went to school at Tennessee. We say things very simple on the other side of the Mississippi River. But this part of the country is very important to me because it was 23 years ago, not too far away from here, up north at the Big Bear Lake. That's where I married my wife, Angela. So, and we're coming up on that anniversary. Of course, for me, that's the, whether or not she wants to revise my contract. So thank God she's kept me around for these 23 years. But what Rose just talked about was so important. But what I want to do is I really want to touch your hearts to get you to understand what really this election cycle coming up is all about. We're sitting here, Rose described this as the field of dreams. And if you remember in that movie, The Field of Dreams, there was that whispering voice that said, if you build it, they will come. See, 236 years ago, some men sat around and they thought about a land of dreams. And they thought about a place where the individual and their rights and freedoms would be preeminent. They thought about a place where there would be liberties and freedoms. They thought about a place that could be a republic. And somewhere, someone whispered a simple dream. And these words, if you build it, they will come. And so 236 years ago, a great Virginian sat down at a desk and he wrote some incredible words. We call that now the Declaration of Independence. He talked about a place where all men are created equal. He talked about a place where the unalienable rights of you as an individual, of life, of liberty, of the pursuit of happiness, they don't come from man. They don't come from government. They come from our Creator. And therefore, coming from a Creator, they cannot be taken away from you. That is your relationship with Him and Him only. And notice I said the pursuit of happiness, not a guarantee of happiness. And at the end of that great document, after they laid out all of the reasons why we wanted to have limited government, all of the invasive nature, the intrusive nature of the British into our lives and to our homes, then they asked for divine providence from our Creator. And they pledged three things. They pledged their lives, they pledged their fortunes, they pledged their sacred honor, that this land of dreams that they were attempting to build would last for generations upon generations. And those simple dreams, those simple thoughts were heard all around the world. And all of a sudden people started to come to this land of dreams. Because when you come to this land of dreams, you're rewarded for your own perseverance. You're rewarded for your own drive, determination. You're rewarded for your own investment, your ingenuity, your innovation. You're rewarded because here, in this land of dreams that we call America, it's about your individual sovereignty. And that is why we are gathered here on this field of dreams. To make sure that the fundamental principles upon which they built this great nation, of limited government, of fiscal responsibility, we cannot continue to live in this land of dreams where we are $16 trillion in debt. We cannot continue in this land of dreams where we see a federal government that is making more and more Americans dependent upon it. We cannot live in a land of dreams where we're having record unemployment. We're having record amount of Americans in poverty. We're having record amount of Americans on food stamps or using EBT cards, electronic benefits transfer cards. You think about what you're going through right here in California with these exorbitant gasoline prices. It's all because of a government that does not understand the riches and the blessings of resources that we have here. But instead they want to impose their rule, their vision, their belief in what this America should be. That's not the land of dreams that those 56 men signed their names to, in essence creating their own death warrant. What Rose talked about, when you have individual sovereignty in this land of dreams, then you have the free marketplace of ideas. Look around you. Look at this incredible valley. And I would challenge you to tell me, find another nation, find another country, find another place that in 236 years has built this. It exists because free people came here. Free people came here and understood that one simple thing: I can be all that I can be. I can have that dream of a business and I can grow it. I can then, if I work in a certain business, I can go out and I can create another business and I can grow it. But when you have this onerous tax and regulatory environment, when you have this sense of crony capitalism that is existing out there today from this federal government, Well, all you have to do is go and watch the movie that just premiered yesterday, Friday, Atlas Shrugged. And it tells you exactly what happens when onerous tax and regulatory policy, when the government becomes greater than the private sector, when they believe that they're the venture capitalists, when they believe that they're the supreme author of your destiny and direction, then producers will stop producing. When you grow the welfare nanny state, the people that wake up each and every day, that work so hard, will stop producing. That is the essence of what Ayn Rand talked about in her 1950s book. And that's what you need to go see. What she talked about, what happens when the land of dreams is crushed by people that want to have one simple thing: their own central control and power over your lives. That's why you are here. That's what you are fighting against.
Well, as you can see, Alan Weston is an incredible speaker. We thank him very much. We thank him. We're very appreciative to have that video. We'll play the second half on Thursday this weekend. Now into kudos and chaos. I have two things I want to talk about. First is there was a poster in Michigan. It talked about Romney's free market versus Obama's socialism. And it really goes to the issue of crony capitalism, which is part of the theme of our show. And on the poster, it says a very interesting thing. It says Romney's free market. He's invested private money in AMC Entertainment, Burger King, Burlington Coat Factory, Clear Channel, Domino's Pizza, Dunkin' Donuts, Qatar Center, etc., etc. Obama, however, has invested our money, taxpayer money, in Solyndra, bankrupt, Energy One, bankrupt, Beacon Power, bankrupt, Abound Solar, bankrupt, Moxie Sala, bankrupt, Spectra Watt, bankrupt, Eastern Energy, bankrupt. All of these companies were Obama campaign contributor controlled. And so it goes on to say the choice is clear. Do you want a businessman who has generated billions of dollars, or do you want a president who has wasted trillions of dollars? Great poster. You've got it in the background. Take a look at it. Now, to close our show today, I want to introduce an interview that took place many years ago by Mike Wallace when he interviewed Ayn Rand, and the topic, of course, was her philosophy of government and her comments and beliefs with regards to capitalism. We thank you very much, and we'll see you on Thursday's show. Good night now, folks.
One of the principal achievements of this country in the past 20 years particularly, I think most people agree, is the gradual growth of social protective legislation based on the principle that we are our brother's keepers. How do you feel about the political trends of the United States, the Western world?
The way everybody feels, except more consciously. I feel that it is terrible, that you see destruction all around you, and that you are moving toward disaster until and unless all those welfare state conceptions have been reversed and rejected. It is precisely these trends which are bringing the world to disaster, because we are now moving towards complete collectivism or socialism, a system under which everybody is enslaved to everybody. And we are moving that way only because of our altruist morality.
Ah, yes, but you say everybody is enslaved to everybody. Yet this came about democratically, Ayn. Free people in a free country voted for this kind of government, wanted this kind of legislation. Do you object to the democratic process?
I object to the idea that people have the right to vote on everything. The traditional American system was a system based on the idea that majority will prevailed only in public or political affairs, and that it was limited by inalienable individual rights. Therefore, I do not believe that a majority can vote a man's life or property or freedom away from him. And therefore, I do not believe that if a majority votes on any issue, that this makes the issue right. It doesn't.
All right. Then how do we arrive at action? How should we arrive at action?
by voluntary consent, voluntary cooperation of free men, unforced.
And how do our leaders arrive, how do we arrive at our leadership? Who elects? Who appoints?
The whole people elects. There is nothing wrong with the democratic process in politics. We arrive at it the way we arrived by the American Constitution as it used to be. By the constitutional process as we had it, people elect officials, but the powers of those officials, the powers of government are strictly limited. They will have no right to initiate force or compulsion against any citizen except a criminal. Those who have initiated force will be punished by force, and that is the only proper function of government. What we would not permit is the government to initiate force against people who have hurt no one, who have not forced anyone. We would not give the government or the majority or any minority the right to take the life or the property of others. That was the original American system.
When you say take the property of others, I imagine that you're talking now about taxes.
Yes, I am.
And you believe that there should be no right by the government to tax. You believe that there should be no such thing as welfare legislation, unemployment compensation, regulation during times of stress, certain kinds of rent controls and things like that.
That's right. I'm opposed to all forms of controls. I am for an absolute, laissez-faire, free, unregulated economy. Let me put it briefly. I'm for the separation of state and economics, just as we had separation of state and church, which led to peaceful coexistence among different religions after a period of religious wars. So the same applies to economics. If you separate the government from economics, if you do not regulate production and trade, you will have peaceful cooperation and harmony and justice among men.
You are certainly enough of a political scientist to know that certain movements spring up in reaction to other movements. The labor movement, for instance, certain social welfare legislation. This did not spring full-blown from somebody's head, out of a vacuum. This was a reaction to certain abuses that were going on. Isn't that true, Ayn?
Not always. It actually sprang up from the same source as the abuses. If by abuses you mean the legislation, which originally had been established to help industrialists, which was already a breach of complete free enterprise. If then, in reaction, labor leaders get together to initiate legislation to help labor, that is only acting on the same principle, namely, all parties agreeing that it is proper for the state to legislate in favor of one economic group or another. But what I'm saying is that nobody should have the right, neither employers nor employees, to use state compulsion and force.
But when you advocate completely unregulated economic life in which every man works for his own profit, you are asking, in a sense, for a devil take the hindmost, dog eat dog society, and one of the main reasons for the growth of government controls was to fight the robber barons, to fight laissez-faire, in which the very people whom you admire the most, Ayn, the hard-headed industrialists, the successful men, perverted the use of their power. Is that not true?
No, it isn't.
Oh.
This country was made not by robber barons, but by independent men, by industrialists who succeeded on sheer ability.
And having,
by ability, I mean without political force, help, or compulsion. But at the same time, there were men, industrialists, who did use government power as a club to help them against competitors. They were the original collectivists. Today, the liberals believe that that same compulsion should be used against the industrialists for the sake of workers. But the basic principle there is, should there be any compulsion? And the regulations are creating robber barons. They are creating capitalists with government help, which is the worst of all economic phenomena.
We are, all of us, the residents of a swiftly shrinking globe, where what was once local is fast becoming global, and our decisions and opinions resonate well beyond our own borders. Join me each week, your host, Al Zucaro, from the epicenter of the Western Hemisphere, Boca Raton, Florida, in sunny South Palm Beach County, for a pointed look at politics, immigration, culture, and what it means to be a citizen of the world.
On every one of our cards, there's a date, a reminder that before this date, we have to exceed expectations. We have to find new ways to help make life easier, more convenient, and more rewarding. It's the reason why we don't have customers. We have members. American Express, welcome in.
Good morning, new neighbors.
Oh,
Hi.
are you ready for your bundle?
Phone, TV, internet, puppy.
Oh, he's so cute. But we have Vonage for our home phone.
We like to know what we're paying for.
Can I?
Sorry, he's part of the bundle.
They bundle everything here.
Puppy.
Don't get bundled, get Vonage. Call or click today to stop bundling and start saving.
For the saver and a big first step. For the spender who needs a little help saving. For adding and sons. For the dreamer planning an early escape. For the mother of the bride. For whoever you are, for whatever you're trying to achieve, PNC has technology, guidance, and over 150 years of experience to help you get there. We're glad to be here. Stop by a branch or visit welcometopnc.com. Virtual Wallet can help you be that person who's good with money. See what's free to spend, move money with a slide, save with a shake. Feel good about your decisions.
What's the matter?
Trouble with a car insurance claim.
Claim trouble.
You should just switch to Allstate and get their new claim satisfaction guarantee.
Hey, he's right, man.
Only Allstate puts their money where their mouth is.
Yep.
Claim service so good, it's guaranteed.
So I can always count on them. Unlike Randy over there.
That's one dumb dude.
The new claim satisfaction guarantee. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you like Allstate.